This is a story about WSU. Whoever shows up. But to get there, we need to start here. Bluegrass music is a genre of American roots music that originated in the Appalachian region in the 1940s, with settlers from the British Isles, particularly Ireland, Scotland, and England. Its name comes from Bluegrass Boys, the band led by Bill Monroe. The father of bluegrass, a mandolin player from Kentucky, who developed the blueprint of bluegrass as we know it today. Bluegrass blends elements of traditional mountain music, folk, and blues with the influence of country, jazz, and gospel. Lyrically, bluegrass tends to focus on themes of loss, religion, and life in the mountains. The mandolin, banjo, fiddle, guitar, and upright bass reflected the rural agricultural way of life and became a signature sound of the genre. The jam culture part of bluegrass music is the staple of bluegrass communities. These sessions combine instrumental improvisation and harmonies that showcase the technical skill of the musicians. This promotes a shared experience that develops a strong community bond. In 2014, David F., our founder, realizing there were no regular bluegrass jams on the South Shore, approached the owner of Daddy's Beach Club in Hull and asked if he could host an acoustic bluegrass jam on Tuesday nights. The owner gladly said yes.
I got tired of driving every place for these jams, so somebody at one of the jams said, maybe you should start your own. So I thought about it and I thought, gee, I could do that. So the first thing was I had to find a place. So I went to Daddy's Beach Club in Hull, and I knew that they had a stage there that could accommodate us.
David went to lots and lots of jams. And when he moved to Hull, he found out that bluegrass jams were very rare, non-existent on the South Shore. So he discovered Daddy's Beach Club in Hull, which has rock and roll music on the weekends. And he sought out the owner and asked him if he could have a bluegrass jam on a Tuesday night.
We chose Daddy's, and we've been there for 10 years because it's got a family atmosphere, and it's a great location by the beach.
The first jam was held in April of 2014 with about 5 participants, including David, Jim F., and John G., who continue to show up regularly.
There were a bunch of us playing, and somebody went up to Jim one day and said, your group sounds really good. What's the name of it? And he said, well, we don't really have a name. It's just whoever shows up.
Well, my wife was sitting next to me, and she said, that should be the name of the band. So whoever shows up is the name of the band.
Over the next several months, the number of musicians attending each week grew. And within about a year, we were averaging over a dozen musicians each week. WSU developed a loyal following of folks from Hull and the surrounding area who came regularly to Daddy's on Tuesday night to hear us pick and sing, and the number of musicians continued to grow.
I put an ad on Craigslist, and the Boston Bluegrass Union has a website. My wife and I went to all the music stores in the area. We put up flyers.
And David emailed all the friends he had met going to jams all over Massachusetts about bluegrass and advertised he was having a jam at Daddy's on a Tuesday night in April of 2014.
People started coming, and every week we'd sweat out, you know, how many people we're going to have.
So the very first night, 5 of us showed up. One was an experienced country music guy who happened to be on his email list. One was an experienced jazz bass fiddle player. David, far superior in skill to me. I was the beginner.
The whole process has transferred from just a simple group of 8 or 9 guys sitting around playing to now we've got over 60 members. The mission of the WSU, whoever shows up, number one, have fun. Number two, it's whoever shows up, it's called that for a reason. We welcome everyone.
And David had been to a lot of jams where they were really strict and didn't want people who were beginners. And David decided that the mission of his jam would be to welcome people of all skill levels, as long as they played acoustic bluegrass instruments and wanted to participate in a bluegrass jam.
Having multiple skill levels is good for everybody.
I happen into the strangest dive bars sometimes, and sure enough, I come across Daddy's. They got killer pizza. It's just exactly what I like, in a bar. And I find out they're playing bluegrass over there on Tuesday, so I stop in. I said, yes, I got to get a piece of this. So the rest is history. I just started showing up with a guitar and kind of just like weaseling my way in, and having as much fun as humanly possible.
And when I moved to Boston, I from the Ozarks, I didn't think I'd get to play any more bluegrass. I thought, nobody's going to be doing that up here. Couldn't be more wrong.
One of the guys in the band, his name is Harmonica Pete. He discovered something in me that I thought was very intuitive. He said, "You're a tone person. I think you'd be a good fit for WSU. Do you know what that is?" I said, "No, I don't." Pete says, "Just show up with your guitar." And I thought, okay. And you can jump in at any time.
I found WSU 10 years ago when Jack Meserve, who I play music with all the time, is a guitar player from Pembroke, called me up and said, "Oh, there's this bluegrass jam going down on Tuesday night at Daddy's. You ought to come down and sit in." So I came down and met a whole bunch of wonderful people.
Suddenly we discovered that we both loved music, and I played the banjo and Tom took up the guitar. This is where you can have your eye poked out by a fiddle player.
Well, I had never sung anywhere other than in the privacy of my own home. And I did it and realized I was still alive after singing in public for the first time, and the floodgates opened.
I played guitar since I was 12 years old. Never really did anything with it. Was planning to go to Berkeley in Boston, but that didn't work out. Bill Tobin, one of the leaders, about 2.5 years, of bugging me to come join the band. And when I did, it was probably one of the best things I've done.
I was just sitting in one of the booths watching and listening and, kind of liking it. And she loved it right from the get-go.
I didn't join right away.
No.
Because I was a wreck. I thought, oh, I'll never. And even when I first went there to meet up with them, I didn't even take my fiddle out of the case. And Fran said, "Well, where is it?" I said, "It's in the car, Fran, and I'm just going to listen to you guys." She said, "Go get it." So I did.
I was completely intimidated. I saw Fran singing, and I thought, wow, she's really great. And the guys sounded really good. And Pete says, "Come on." I said, "I'm not ready." So 6 months later, I said, "I'll join in September," and I did.
I was terrified of playing and singing, so I used to just try to play along, practice on my own. And then I heard about this place. I think they were about 3 years in before I started coming here. I was just looking, and there was one in Hull. So I said, well, I'm gonna go. So I went, didn't bring my instrument, sat and had dinner, and said, I think I can do this. And my husband looked at me and said, "You think you can do that?" I said, "I think I can." And then, slowly I learned to play thanks to these guys.
So we stopped in Daddy's for a drink, and they had the poster on the window that they had a bluegrass jam on Tuesdays. So I said to Rose, "Well, they got a bluegrass jam. Maybe I'll bring the bass down." Didn't know anything about bluegrass at all. First time we went, I just sat and listened. Next few times I'd bring my bass, but I just played, you know, didn't want to sing anything. And that evolved from there.
I discovered bluegrass music about 20 years ago going to First Night in Boston with my wife. And one of the places we stopped into was this band playing this music I had never heard. And I found out it was bluegrass music.
You know, you go, wait a minute, what song is that the Birds are playing? Oh, wait, who's Bill Monroe? Who the heck is that, you know?
My wife had this gift certificate for Barnes & Nobles, and she couldn't find a book she wanted, and they had this Kingston Trio CD, and I thought, gee, I could play the banjo like the Kingston Trio does. So I ordered a banjo on eBay. It was a terrible banjo, but it got me started anyway.
I discovered bluegrass music through the WSU. I was a guitar player for many years by myself, playing with CDs and that kind of thing. I worked with a gentleman who had been playing bluegrass for about 30 years. He said I need to find a bluegrass jam. I'm a country rock and roll guy, you know, it didn't sound appealing to me, but I figured I'll give it a try. And that's how I discovered bluegrass music. And honestly, I'm not kidding, it changed the whole path of my music.
How I got into bluegrass is unusual because I grew up in an immigrant German household. We played a lot of classical music, a lot of Harry Belafonte, and nobody knows where that bluegrass gene came from, so.
At the time, my favorite guitar player, his name was Norman Blake, and he had an album come out called Fields of November. It was really, like I'd never heard anybody play the guitar like that. They'd strum it, you know, but this guy picked it with a pick and made it sound like, wow, just craziness. It was how well he played. Oh, where has this been all my life? This is the kind of music I like. So I started playing that kind of stuff.
I got into bluegrass a long time ago when I had moved to Portland, Oregon. A friend of mine, he told me, he said, hey, are you going to String Summit? I said, what's that? He said, oh, it's only the happeningest bluegrass festival in the Northwest. I said, no, I don't know anything about bluegrass. He said, what? I must have played about 45 hours of guitar in about 4 days. When all the music was done, we all go back to the campgrounds, and everyone's a musician, it seems like. I couldn't walk 15 yards without getting caught in another jam. So I said, this is cool. And I started looking for jams.
Well, we met each other back in the early days of the film business.
Yeah.
And had nothing to do with music back in the day.
Back in the day, I just worked. Yeah.
I'm self-taught. I learned at 17 years old. And there was no YouTube in this time frame, so it was all by ear and just kind of watching people.
I was going to UMass Boston to college. I was taking liberal arts, and I never went to school that much, and I was partying a little too much, and I said, how can I get out of this easy? So I switched my major to music, and then it made it easier, so I graduated from college with a music degree. My father was on the fire department before me. He actually worked in the neighborhood we grew up in. I needed a steady job with a good pay. Rose and I were married, and I'd always tried to get on the fire department, so I finally did.
I've spent 6.5 years Army Airborne Infantry. I deployed to Iraq for 15 months and Afghanistan for 12.
I used to play ice hockey, but my body won't tolerate that anymore. That's just about as good. But this is wonderful fun.
I've lived in Hull for coming up on 40 years now. I moved up here from the Ozarks of Arkansas and Missouri, and worked in banking and finance in Wall Street downtown, and rode the commuter boat every day for 30 years. But now that I'm retired, I've let my hair grow out and get to have lots of fun playing music.
I decided I needed to learn how to play the guitar, and so I started taking some lessons in 2010. I was 67 years old.
Eventually, my midlife crisis at 49, I went out, and after saying that for many years, I actually bought a banjo.
Later in life, when she started with the violin, she inspired me just by her work ethic and, you know, practicing and results. I picked up a guitar when I was 75 years old. Never had one in my hands before.
My father-in-law grew an interest in, and he's like, how do I participate? I know, harmonica. He's running with it. He's getting a little closer to the stage every time. And I love that. I love to be able to share something like this.
I didn't even know what a mandolin was, but you told me that, they play that in bluegrass, and we're supposed to be playing bluegrass here. So, you know, you go on YouTube and you figure out, oh, look I can do 3 chords with this thing. Yeah. And that's what we're doing, simple songs, people will play it. Now and then we get somebody good, you know.
Isn't he great?
There's another good one back over
He
there.
fills in the gaps between the questions so well. Like I don't have to say anything.
Well, if I leave it up to you, that's all you'll just take over.
Most of the people are retired. I'm a retired dentist. We have grips. We have a deputy fire chief. We have a deputy police chief. People from all different backgrounds who ordinarily wouldn't get together except they were brought together by this music.
I'm a friend of the former chief of police for Northeastern University. If you told anybody I grew up with that was the case, they'd laugh in my face. You know, you've got guys who work in a deli, in a supermarket, to folks who own their own successful business, and everything in between. And I'll tell you, it's amazing how the camaraderie and the friendship it just happens.
People are smiling and singing along and getting up and dancing, and it makes us feel better. It's a really unique phenomenon.
I love Daddies. This is a perfect setting for this kind of music. So, and perfect clientele, you know, people that drink beer and watch sports and listen to bluegrass music.
We came down here and they were jamming. They were very welcoming.
Yeah.
Like anybody who wants to come and play
There was a bunch of
can
old
come
guys
play.
that it's like, oh, well, they don't mind if I screw up now and then, you know, and I'm gonna.
Which is quite common, where we all screw up.
Exactly. But we came every week after that.
When you're playing with others, they're backing you up, and you're not going to have a musical disaster, you know, because they can kind of carry you.
When you first joined, you think, oh my God, it's so exciting to be able to play the songs that you've always loved. But the first time I did something, it was, first of all, I wasn't prepared. It's dark in Daddy's. So if you didn't have enough light, all of a sudden you'd start and then you couldn't see. You know, it was really hard stuff. But I persevered. That's something in my DNA anyway. I'll never give up on anything that I really believe in.
The thing I love about Daddies is at this point, I feel like it's chaotic enough that I can do anything and not be worried that I'm gonna make a fool of myself. Partly because of the camaraderie, but also partly because it's so loud, I think people don't notice.
But I say overall, yeah, definitely super welcoming, a lot of smiling faces. It's always great to just see people coming in and chatting, catching up. It feels like a family.
The bluegrass tradition itself, okay, is extremely welcoming. When I joined the group, I was a rank beginner, scared to death, afraid to sing, afraid to play. My joy in being in the group now, okay, is the fact that I get to pass this on now, okay? I've been with the group long enough that I can help other people, encourage them. But it's the friendships you develop and the people you play with that bring me back all the time.
We're almost like a family. You know, we've hung together and we're always there for each other.
I came in having no experience in a band, having never played live, and everybody accepted me. They welcomed me in, and it encouraged me to the point where I started singing.
Now what's that smoking? Yonder across the field, looking like our secret hideaway. We've had so many years. John, Lord, come.
It's really been like the best thing for me musically.
WSU has just been what's given me a boost of confidence. There's such a welcoming group. There's so much fun to be around, and no matter when I finally got the nerve to do a song, they just said, just keep doing it every week.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have come up after their first time coming into a jam, and they just, I can't believe how welcoming you folks were. And, you know, that's the best thing you could possibly say to any of us, because that's why we're really doing what we're doing.
WSU is a sense of belonging and purpose in a small town where I would otherwise just be kind of waving at strangers, you know. Big tourism thing for summer, you know, because you guys have this nice beach. But aside from that, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I'd find myself going to Boston looking for something. I'm just so glad this was right here in my backyard.
The best of the jam is the sense of community and friendship and making a good sound. It just puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, Tuesday nights is something I definitely look forward to. It's very relaxed. Everybody's very friendly. The pizza after, have a beer. It's a good social environment.
Well, obviously the friends you make, the people that you meet there. There was some, my mom who passed away 3 years ago, she was 91. But she used to love to go. So we bring her, and she made friends with people too, so it was great.
Like if I pass these people on the street before I joined the band, I would never know anything about them. But now it's wonderful. It's a remarkable entity. There's nothing like it. I've been to other bluegrass jams. They're not as fun as this.
All right, can we get a little kickoff with a couple of banjos here? A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
I used to play metal. I played all different kinds of music. So it really wasn't until I joined WSU and had purpose and direction in my music career that I actually started to take off and do something with it.
It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long.
I have a full-time job. I'm up at 5 in the morning, and after my first 6 months of doing this, I looked at my wife, and I would have to just occasionally do it. And I said, this has got to become a commitment, because honestly, I'd say it gives me more joy than pretty much anything else I do.
Oh, the best part of the band for me has been, hey, it's the high point of my week, and they're just full of just the nicest people you could ever want to meet.
Sing a worried song, I'm worried now.
It's changed me because I now have a place to go every Tuesday night. I have a reason to play my guitar every single day. It's therapy. I mean, I have a very challenging job, and these are challenging times. And I'm telling you what, on Tuesday nights, all that stays home. I go out and just laugh and have a good time with a bunch of great people who just want to be there and play music. You know, it's a real special thing.
You kind of base the week around Tuesday night. I mean, sometimes everyone knows that's why it's called WSU. You can't always show up, but you try to make the effort because it's part of your week. It's like a comforting thing to look forward to. Like, I still go to church regularly and practice in Catholic. I go to church on Sundays. I like to go to Daddy's on Tuesdays.
It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. I'm worried now.
My greatest fulfillment of it is seeing other beginners like I was develop that same progression in their musical life and how it is life-changing.
That's right. It's a WSU band. Whoever shows up.
WSU, whoever shows up.
The WSU, whoever shows up.
WSU, whoever shows up.
WSU?
Whoever shows up.
The WSU, whoever shows up.
The WSU, whoever shows up.
Whoever shows up.
Whoever shows up.
Whoever shows up.
I guess that was a pretty cool name how they started that. You know, because you never know who you're going to get.
The WSU, whoever shows up, and that was one of them.
Cheers. Here we go.
From Bill Monroe's early recordings to contemporary innovations, bluegrass has always been about community, tradition, and musical virtuosity. Whether performed in small rural settings or on grand festival stages, bluegrass music continues to thrive, evolve, and inspire audiences worldwide.
Chain around my leg. 21 links of chain. Chain around my leg.
I like playing at Daddy's because there's nothing else like it. Nothing.
We have no mission statement. We just got a group of people together to play music together.
It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long. Great start, everybody. All right.
Before we move on, we've got something that we've got to do.
Yeah.
Scott has come back from Scotland. He was over there for over 30 years.
If you're looking for live music and you like the bluegrass sound, try Daddy's every Tuesday. See who's coming around. Jam, it starts at 7, and with any luck, you'll have as much fun as we do, or whoever shows up. The jam, it starts at 7, and with any luck, you'll have as much fun as we do, or whoever shows up. Okay, that's good. That's the first time I ever sang that in public.